Hello there. Hi there, everyone. Have you ever wondered what it might be like to be an amazingly successful author, hypnotherapist, trainer, or coach? Hi there, I'm Suzie Bowers with HypnoProfessional, and I appreciate you coming and joining me here today. I'm your hostess with our kickoff of Everything Hypnosis 2022, where I'm going to be interviewing all sorts of amazing experts in the field of mindset and successful living and just creating a wonderful life that you desire and deserve. Lifestyle freedom, baby. So we are here to ignite your hypnotic awesomeness. Thank you for joining us today. If you would, just drop a note. Let us know where you're watching from. Checking my notes and making sure all the tech's working good here. So just bear with me. And let's see here. So, and also there's a link down there in the comments that if you would like to comment so we can see your comments, we have to get permission between Facebook and Be Live that I'm using here today. So go ahead and click on that link and it will give you access. Hi, Jeanette. Good to see you. Awesome. Woohoo. Good to see you, Jeanette. All right. So that would be great. Then we can give you feedback and also answer your questions. So you are in luck because today I'm so excited. I have my dear, dear friend, my mentor, one of the most amazing women I've ever met, my sweet, sweet friend, Dr. Shelley Stockwell-Nicholas. I'm going to be inviting her on in just a moment. Not only is she the founder of the International Hypnosis Federation, she's also author of 25, now 26 books, new one coming out. And she's also, this is the craziest thing ever, she's in the Guinness Book of World Records for hypnotizing chickens. Yeah, you heard that right. I know. Who would believe it? But it's true. And we'll ask her to share us how she did that because we're not clucking around here today. I'm telling you right now. So, all right, let's welcome Shelley to the show. Just give me a second here. And here she is.
Hi, Suzie. Hi, Suzie Bowers, and all of you wonderful people out there. Hi, everybody who's on the forum with us. It's great to have you here, and I'm thrilled to talk about my favorite subject.
Me too. It's my favorite subject too. So tell us, Shelley, a little bit. So you've been in the hypnotherapy, well, self-improvement. Let's call it self-improvement because you do a lot of things in that world and an expert really by anyone's standards for many, many years. What was it that made you decide to get into this field?
Well, it's very interesting. When I was 20, I think I was 20 years old, I went to a stage hypnosis show at Hollywood and Vine. And it was put on by Pat Collins. She was about 6 feet tall. She had bleach blonde hair and false eyelashes.
I remember her.
She had the celebrity club and she hypnotized people. She would stand up in her very large self and she'd go, sleep! And people would fall all over. And I was taken to the show with my girlfriend from England and we sat there like this. And we went, this is total bull. And we said to ourselves, you know what? These people were paid to do this. They're all shills. This is not real. This is like a magic act. But the weirdest thing happened while I was watching the show and she'd go, sleep. I found myself asleep at the table.
And Guzzo did that to me. Shocked the shit out of me, really.
Okay, so she would call out. She'd go, you and the table wide awake, enjoy the show, right? I'd sit up and I'd think, oh, that was weird. But then I didn't think anything about it until I decided, I said to my friend, Judy, we're going to stay for the next show. So we stayed for the next show and I ran up on the stage because I was going to prove that this was baloney. So there I am on the stage. And of course, I'm a pushover and I'm hypnotized. And the next thing I know, well, there's a series of things. But the first thing is she says sleep and I'm sitting next to a woman. This is a long time ago. Okay. This is way long with the ratted hair. Remember the ratted hair and the aqua spray net hairspray that stunk to high heaven. I found myself with my head and my nose inside some woman's hair sitting next to me and it stunk to high heaven. And I thought to myself, I've got to move my head because this stinks. I got to get my head out of this woman's hair. And I couldn't move. I was like sleeping in this woman's hair on stage. And all I could do was say, Shelley, move your head. And it took me about 4.5 years, I think, to turn my head. And when I turned my head, I could breathe again. And then the next thing I knew, I was stretched between two chairs because the audience voted for me to be stretched between two chairs. And I had a man standing on me. And I remember laying there in the stage lights, on Hollywood and Vine, and saying to myself, maybe I'm hypnotized because I don't think I'd normally do this.
What?
And so that was my first encounter with hypnosis. And I forgot about it for a couple of years. And then about 4 or 5 years later, I was a stewardess with TWA. And I decided I was going to stop eating junk food. So I went to a hypnotist in Tustin. And he was a funny little man. And it cost $25. And I went to this guy, paid the lady at the desk $25, which was a lot of money for me then. And I went into this room and he was sitting behind a desk. He was a little guy. And he goes, how can I help you? And I said, well, I want to stop eating junk food because I'm eating cakes off of people's trays on the airplane. And I'm a junk food junkie and I'll eat candy bars before I go to sleep. And he goes, okay, come with me. And he marches me in another room, puts me in a reclining chair, puts on this earphones, puts on a thing on my eyes, tips the chair back. And I'm thinking, this is weird. What's going to happen, right? So now I hear stuff in my earphones and it goes, you're walking down a path, 99. Your toes are relaxing, 98. And he starts counting back from 99 to 1 as I'm walking down a path. I lift up the eye shade and he's nowhere around. The guy's gone. And I'm just sitting in this chair being hypnotized, right? I mean, this is really weird. And anyway, I get to number 1. I'm really bored out of my mind. And then I hear the guy come onto a microphone. I lift up the shade and he's standing behind a screen like the Wizard of Oz. And he says, I remember it so well. He says, this was 50 years ago. Don't eat sugar. And then the music comes back and now I'm walking back on the path. And I'm walking back to number 99 and 100.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, I just spent $25 for this. This was such a waste of money. I can't believe it. And I stormed out of there and I was like, oh, I'm so indignant. And I didn't eat sugar for a week. And I said, that's ridiculous. How did that work? And then I noticed, though, when I drove by See's Candy, I'd salivate. So I went back to him, paid the $25, and you can't imagine what he said in the earphones. Don't salivate when you drive by See's Candy. Now, I tell you this story for a very important reason. 1, I didn't eat sugar for a year, which means hypnosis works. Mm-hmm. And 2, even the world's worst hypnotist gets results. And I think this is an important lesson for anybody out there who's interested in A, being hypnotized, or B, being a hypnotist. Hypnosis works. And you don't have to be great at it because you're doing it all day long anyway. You don't realize it, but everything is self-hypnosis, and self-hypnosis is self-talk.
It is.
If you ask me for a real definition of hypnosis, I will tell you plain and simple. Hypnosis is everything. Now, I told that to Orman McGill, who was a famous hypnotist who I used to work with years ago. And he said, you can't say that. That's not scientific.
But it's true.
It is true. So, yes, scientifically, hypnosis is an art and a science. It is actually the scientific word for prayer or meditation.
Wow.
But hypnosis is everything. And I'm going to ask all of you wonderful people on the forum and all of you people watching this, haven't you noticed that what you say to yourself affects the outcome?
Oh.
It's so true, isn't it, Suzie?
It's so true. I tell this to my teenager every day. Every day. I think I'm just going to record myself and push play in the morning.
Actually, a really good thing you can do, and this is for all of you here, if you have a teenager or a husband or a wife or somebody you want to hypnotize, find them when they're asleep and just talk to them while they're sleeping.
So
All
true.
you do is just go into their ear and say, I love you very much. Stay asleep, and you're going to be a great public speaker. Or you're going to pick up your socks, or you're going to get straight A's on your test. Make it an affirmation of a result, and I guarantee you it will work.
Absolutely.
That's how easy hypnosis is.
And I'll share with you, Shelley, that you're talking about that. So 25 years ago, when I first got certified, my husband at the time chewed tobacco, and I hated it. I hated it. It was just terrible. It ruined our sex life, everything. It was just nasty. Anyway, so while he was sleeping, I was dropping suggestions. He quit for like 6 years. He just also, I don't feel like chewing anymore. So there is a little ethical concern there.
No ethics involved. That's perfect. That was well done.
Well, I think with your husband, your spouse, your kids, there's kind of an unwritten permission because.
That's right. You're hypnotized to fall in love with you in the first place. So what the heck?
But don't just do it to someone you meet on the street, because that wouldn't be okay.
No, but I have done it to people I didn't know very well. I mean, I'll give you an example of that. My husband was a fisherman, and he was a diver, and he had some fish, and this guy came over for fish who I'd never met, and he sat in my office waiting for his fish, and he smelled from cigarettes, and I was just in a playful mood, so I just turned to him and I said, and I know that you're done with that and that you're ready. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, and I know that it's time and you're ready. You go, I really don't know what you're talking about. I said, yes, you do. And you're done. You're done with it. You're not going to do that anymore. You're done with it. And you're finished with that. And then I left the room, and he came back. The next time he came back for the fish, which was about a month later, he goes, what did you do to me? I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, I haven't smoked since I saw you. Did you hypnotize me? I said, really? You think so?
Did you hand him an invoice?
No, I just having a good old time. So, but I will tell you, I've been doing hypnosis for 50 years, Suzie, and I'm still learning new ways to do it. It's a terrific tool, and you don't have to be great at it to be hypnotizing yourself or hypnotizing someone else. It's just a natural state of mind, and it's the power of suggestion.
So Jeanette Jackson wants to know, what did you do at the end of that year of no sugar? Did you have to go back for another session?
Oh, Jeanette, that's such a great question. I'm so glad you asked it. Okay, so this is what happened. I wasn't eating any sugar, but I was eating green grapes at the end of the year. I found these green grapes were delicious. And I had a grape grower on one of my flights, and I said, I am having the best time eating green grapes. And he goes, yeah, aren't they good? We've been shooting the vines up with sucrose. So I got back to sugar. So then I had to make a CD, which I have, and I sell CDs, and it's called No More Sugar Junkie. And when I listen to my CD, I don't eat sugar for a year, but then it wears off for me. Now, that's not true of everything.
That's true.
Some things you can give a one session and they will never do it again. And that's true for me for lots of things. But with the sugar, it's an interesting dance I have going on. It lasts about a year, and then I need a tune-up. So that's what happened, Jeanette. I just went back to listening to my own CD, listening to myself. Doctor, heal thyself.
Yes, I have to do that too. In fact, I do self-hypnosis every night when I go to bed. That's the best time to do it. Absolutely. So what a great story. You're so fun. I love it. So what's your new book about? I never even asked you that. You got a new book?
Well, my newest book, let me show you my newest book here. My newest book that came out is this one. It's Spiritual Counselor Secrets.
Oh, and you've got Kathy Kennedy.
Yes, for professionals only. And Kathy Kennedy and I collaborated on this book. It's Shelley and Kathy's Spiritual Secrets.
Love it. Oh, I definitely want one.
It's such a good book. Anyway, the book that I just wrote now that's not in print yet is Forensic Hypnosis, because I started working with cold case detectives.
That's amazing.
And and what happens when you work with a cold case detective, they want to know any information that they can then investigate. And so a hypnotist goes in, and you have to follow very strict neutral protocols, but they're very important that you follow them because it could wind up in court. And you hypnotize a witness or a victim, and then they tell you what they remember while in trance. But you can't lead the witness at all because they'll confabulate or make up a story. It
Right.
may or may not bring up any new information, but it often does. And the last one I did actually brought up a piece of information that they're now investigating. And so it's a fabulous thing if you have the guts for it. And I mean the guts for it, because it's very upsetting, but it really is helpful. Like, it's major crimes that you all know about have been solved by hypnotizing. Remember Coachella, where they buried the bus?
Mhm.
The bus driver, Ed Ray, was hypnotized, and he remembered the license plate under hypnosis.
That's what I was going to ask you, because is everything that we see, even if we're not consciously aware that we're seeing it, is going into the subconscious, right? So if you
yes and no.
license,
If you ask other experts like Mark Howell on forensic hypnosis, he'll say that we're not really a recording device, but we are very often imprinting things that we do see, and hypnosis is one possible way of bringing it to the fore. And it might not even happen in the hypnosis session. So, for example, you would say to a client, if you're working as a forensic hypnotist, you would say, after this session, you may remember some more information, and you'll immediately write it down or call the sheriff or the detective, or tell someone immediately so that you capture it. Do you understand? Nod your head. Yes. Okay. And so that was the case. Remember the little girl, Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped?
absolutely.
Her sister heard the voice of the kidnapper and thought it sounded familiar, but couldn't recall it. And she was given a post-hypnotic suggestion. You will remember it later, and it'll come to you very clearly. And she did. She remembered, well, that was the voice of the guy who worked on our roof, Emmanuel. And sure enough, and told the police. The police didn't follow through on that, so they went to one of the crime shows on television, and they were captured, and Elizabeth Smart was saved within days. So,
Wow.
an amazing story. But hypnosis is a powerful tool, and it's very, very good for forensics. It's very, very good for your love life. It's very, very good for health. Many of my books are how to be healthy using hypnosis. And
yeah, it's not really helping my love life so much, as we were discussing. However,
yes,
I will share a little quick share thing with you. So people call me all the time. Well, not all the time. A few times a year, I'll get a phone call. I can't find my money. I hid it, or I lost my diamond earrings. I need to come in for a session. I go, nah, no, you don't. This is what you're going to do.
I know, it's really not complicated.
If it doesn't work, then just call me and you can come in. They never call me back because it works every time.
Yeah, well, that's good. I've helped people find a lot of things, and I've also helped people not find a lot of things because it may or may not have registered properly. But if you've focused your attention somewhere, most likely you have some memory of it, most likely. So that's good. But you can't lead the witness into it. You can't tell them where.
This is such a fascinating area of hypnosis. I mean, it really is. And you don't hear a lot of people talking about it because it is, like you said, you have to have the courage to do it because it's so detail oriented. There's laws. You have to stay within the realm of the law, make sure you don't cross any lines that could be thrown out, like you were talking about. So fascinating. And what a huge service to someone who's missing their child, or
Oh, absolutely. And also it's interesting too, because I'm also a psychic. I don't bring the psychic into it at all. I shut it all off because that's not my place as a forensic hypnotist. I have to be completely neutral.
Now, isn't everybody somewhat psychic? I mean, that's just a kind of a label.
I think so. Ask the people on the forum, put your thumbs up, or let us know if you think you're psychic, because I think a lot of people out there are very intuitive. They may know something's going to happen before it happens. They may suddenly have a glimpse of reality in a dream, or they may just get a hit on it. Oh, yeah, everybody's saying, yeah, they got that one. That's right, because we all sort of get an instinct, and it's it's from primalness. I mean, when you're a baby, I mean, you probably smell your mom before you ever see her.
I can still smell her.
My house smells like mom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know I'm very intuitive myself, and I've never really called myself psychic, but definitely intuition. Oh, Jeanette, that's a great question. I'm going to pop her question up here really quick. Yes, I incorporate intuition when I'm working with someone. Definitely intuition comes into play during the session on guiding where to go next. And sometimes it even hits me when I'm not still with the person. Like it'll come to me later, what steps I need to take or what's going to help them. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking that. How about you, Shelley?
I tend not to do psychic readings when I'm doing hypnosis because I do a thing called higher self hypnosis, and I want their guidance to speak.
Absolutely.
So what I tend to do is I interview them out of trance. Then I put them in, I teach them self hypnosis maybe, and then I deck them. I put them in a deep trance and I ask, may I please speak to the part of you that's wise beyond wise, your higher self, your all-knowing self, your all-gnawing self, the part of you, your superhero self. I want to speak to the part of you that cares that you do everything and with righteousness. And may I speak to that part? And then what happens is they channel their intuition and their guidance and I find that's more effective for me than telling them things. Now, on the other hand, I'm a channel, a medium. And so when people come for a psychic reading, I find that my guide actually gives very little advice, but gives some, but it tends to be more directive. So it's an interesting I wear two hats when I'm doing my work.
Yeah, it's very much so. And I agree with everything you just said. So I love that. And that's my favorite kind of work, actually, is letting the higher self come in, because that higher self knows what the person needs and why they're here and what their life purpose is and the lesson they need to learn from whatever's going on in their life. So it's just absolutely.
Yeah, even when you know your client well, you don't know your client well because there's nobody who knows you better than yourself. And that's why I love self-hypnosis so much. And I really make it a point to teach my clients self-hypnosis because that gives them the opportunity to get high with their higher self on their own anytime they want.
There's no better high than that high.
It's the highest high in the world.
Let's get high, Shelley. I love it. I love it. So on a fun note, then tell us about the chickens.
Okay. All right. So I've been a hypnotist for a long time, and I'd already written many books, and I was doing fine in the field. I had a lot of clients and I was respected and feeling good about myself and all of that. And I was on a lot of radio talk shows. Now that's one way you can promote yourself, all of you out there, no matter what your field. In those days, I was on anywhere from 20 to 30 talk shows a week. Now that's a lot of talk shows. And I was the guest. I was a featured guest on radio, television, and talk shows on radio, especially. Mm-hmm. And one show I was on was called Night Orange. And it was in Nashua, New Hampshire. And Ken Gidge was the host. And I was a regular on the show. He would have me on all the time. And I met Mayor Bernie Streeter at the time. I met all the locals. They would call in and talk to me about hypnosis or channeling or, I became part of this radio show. And I live in California, so it was long distance. And then I had to take a break because I took a group to Bali, Indonesia on an enlightenment tour. And I came back and Ken says, so where you been? I said, well, I was in Bali. He said, what did you do in Bali? I said, I hypnotized a chicken. He says, how do you hypnotize a chicken? I said, well, I learned it from a book that Orma McGill wrote. And it said that you have to get the chicken, which by the way was the hardest part because we had to chase these chickens all around. Finally, you get a chicken. And then you just draw a line in the sand or on the pavement with chalk, and you take little chicken, you put his little legs out in front of and behind him and pull his little beak and put his little beak on the line. And the guy just lays there like this.
Oh, funny. Really?
Okay. Now that's what he does because it is a natural instinct. You have it too. It's called the freeze response when you're panicked or upset. So it's fight, flight, or freeze, right? So this is a natural instinct in many, many animals. There's many ways to hypnotize a chicken, by the way. You can put their little head under their wing. You can swing them around in a circle. You can do all kinds of things. But what it does, it activates the neurons in the chicken, and the chicken then becomes frozen. So not frozen chicken like you'd have in your freezer, but, they become comatose. So I told Ken, and he goes, oh, I want to learn how to hypnotize a chicken. I said, well, I'm coming to Nashua to speak at a conference, and I could teach you when I come. He goes, that would be great. He said, I'll tell you what, why don't you hypnotize a dozen chickens for the Guinness Book of World Records? And I'm thinking, what? I said, well, let me talk to Ormond about it and we'll get back to you. Okay. So the next week he says, okay, I got it all worked out. Bernie Streeter, the mayor's going to give the invocation, and we're going to have all the school kids from the local schools come so you can teach them how to get better grades. And we're going to have, and he set up this whole thing in a parking lot by the radio station. So I come to Nashua, New Hampshire, and I called Ormond first. I said, Ormond, we've got to hypnotize chickens for the Guinness Book of World Records. He goes, yeah, that's a good idea. I said, well, how are we going to do it? He says, don't ask me. I've never hypnotized a chicken in my life. I said, but you wrote about it in your book. He said, just because you write about it doesn't mean you know how to do it. So now I'm all over my Palos Verdes, California, looking for chickens. They're really hard to find here, so I can practice.
There's peacocks, but not
yeah, there's peacocks.
Chickens are here in Stockton.
So anyway, I got myself 12 chickens from a local farm. Ken got them. That came to the parking lot. The farmer brought 12 chickens. We did lines on the asphalt, and we put an egg at the end of each line. And Ormond and I and our chicken handlers, 12 hypnotists that I knew from the conference, came with us, and we did this thing, and we had 12 chickens all laid out looking at the egg. I said, which came first? They never answered. I told them they would never smoke again unless they became a smoked chicken. Then I hypnotized the radio announcers. I hypnotized all the kids. We told them about the conference. We were very, very happy. Everybody was thrilled. We were on page 3 of USA Today. We were on David Letterman. We were on the front page of the national newspaper, and the people at the conference hated me and threw me out of the organization. And we were promoting them. Gosh. Okay, what can I say? What can I say?
Gosh. Wow, it was just one of those things for them. That's amazing.
One of those things. I was promoting them, but anyway. Well, but be that as it may, the International Hypnosis Federation has been thriving, and we're a great organization. And a lot of the chicken handlers and all the instructors from that old conference are now coming to us and joining us, and we promote them in our newspaper, and every way we can, we promote hypnotists.
And you and your organization's amazing. I've been a member a long time. Absolutely love it. It's because you're fun. You're so sweet. That was just a bunch of stuffy old people over there. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the business of hypnosis, because as you know, HypnoProfessional, I created, it was founded to help other hypnotherapists, coaches, alternative practitioners to create a successful business and be business minded. So if you were to start all over again, you've been very successful in your career. What advice would you give to people today? Things have changed a lot, but still.
Number one, I know this is going to sound crazy to everybody. You need a business card, but not a business card. Because I have a pile of maybe 1,000 business cards that hypnotists have given me, and they suck. You need a business card that has your face on it, that takes up 1/3 of the card and has your name.
Like that?
And that's it. Susie's Rocks. That's a great card. And it should have it. My personal preference is a white card with black letters that says your name and then bullets. Hypnosis, mindfulness, NLP, or whatever your 3 or 4 main things are, your phone number, huge, and your email and your website. That is the number one thing that will get you business. And I know that sounds very antiquated, but it is not.
No, it's true.
In the world, people are handing out business cards, and you have a drawer full of them, or you've thrown them away, and you don't know who the person is. But if there are pictures on it, and it's got to be a nice picture. Like one lady gave me her business card. She said the card said, "Help for depression," and this is what her face looked like. And she looked like she'd been run over by a Mack truck. If you're going to have your picture, it's got to be an attractive, friendly, I can help you picture, so that people can relate to you. We live in a soundbite world. They don't have time to read a card that has a million post nominals, a bunch of blah blah, or some pretty little doodad symbol. They want to see a face, they want to see a person, and they want to know that what's in it for them. So beneath your picture, you could say, "I will motivate you," or "Be happy now," or "Make more money," or whatever it is, or "Stop the pain," "Stop ow now," whatever it is. And then the next thing is a website. And that's Susie's expertise. I'm not the expert on that, but I will tell you that a very important thing on your website is how to book an appointment there, where they pay in advance. They go on the website, they book their appointment with you, and they pay in advance.
Yes.
And that's a very important tool for a hypnotist. Now, getting business is easy as punch. All you have to do is go out in the world and somebody says, "You're a hypnotist?" Because isn't that what they say to you all the time?
Yes. If I don't even tell people what I do anymore, because the minute they ask me, I'm like, "Oh, here we go."
See, the thing is, the minute they ask, "Are you a hypnotist?" your answer is, "Yes, what are you working on?" Or what if you were to go to a hypnotist, what would be meaningful to you? And they go, "I got to lose 50 pounds." And you say, "I can help you." And then you hand them your card. And I will tell you, business is made that way. And I have made a lot of money doing that, because once you help one person, they refer a lot of other people to you. And also you need to consider that you're worthy of the money you're being paid. You have to know that money should come to you, that you're not doing a charity organization, and that you deserve money and it's worthwhile to make money. And then once you're very wealthy, you'll share the money.
Yes. And that's right. And that's my whole motto, is that what we do, we help people, and you should be paid well. I mean, you really deserve to be paid well. I believe we're uplifting the planet when we help someone overcome a life debilitating block they've had. And so that's part of the mindset. And I remember when I first started just charging $50 a session, and I thought I was going to make all this money. Well, that didn't work out. So, but today is so different. It's just so different today, the whole business model. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I learned about the business card thing, Shelley. I learned that when I was in real estate from all the real estate agents. The successful ones have their picture on everything. And I still, even to this day, have people come up to me and ask me if I'm still in real estate. And that was 25 years ago. And it's because my picture was on everything. So that's
we really need the human contact. I mean, especially with the craziness that's been going on, we need to look somebody in the eye and say, "Hi, I care about you," and mean it, of course. And we really do. Hypnosis works. I want to go back to that. Hypnosis is a real phenomenon that gets results. Every one of the people listening to this, you've been hypnotized every day of your life. You didn't call it hypnosis, but you are hypnotizing yourself in your self-talk, and you're hypnotizing yourself in the way you speak to others. And you're also hypnotizing them to fall in love with you or run away as fast as they can. It's up to you and your self-talk and your ideas that you put out. It's all hypnosis.
Absolutely. And then, I wasn't going to bring this up, but since we're on this, everything being hypnosis, and I totally agree, because we're all having our own experience. But another thing about this, when people have come, and I learned this a long time ago, going through my own dark night, and it's kind of why I became a hypnotist and all of that, because I had to work on myself. But what I learned is what we allow into our minds every day is just as important. And so I just have a rule in my house: no TV, no news media, no nothing, especially first thing in the morning, but pretty much all the time, because that is total hypnosis. being blasted through the television, what my parents used to call the boob tube. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, we are now experiencing firsthand mass hypnosis. Now, it's not the first time, but the first time for maybe this generation. And the media is so controlled and so slanted, and it's they call it edutainment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not news, although there are some places you can really get news, but most of the things and it's here's a dictum of hypnosis. You get better results with repetition. And if you notice that these news media outlets are pounding away with headlines, bang, 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 and it's negative usually. And that's why a lot of clients come to me right now are very depressed, very frustrated, very lonely, very sad, because they've been hypnotized by the media to be frightened. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the tenets of hypnosis is you enter a trance when you have emotion, strong emotion. Well, the fear mongers are making us very emotional. We're all afraid we're going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Yes, you are going to die.
Yeah, I have news for you. Everyone here is going
to die. So big deal. But when you're being pounded on day and night that you're going to die unless you keep your distance and put a mask on and hide in your bed, then you get really scared. And the little child in you just is terrified, and it's understandable. But what you need to know is that you can combat any ailment or any discomfort with the right mental attitude, because mind and body are the same. And you cannot yield to fear mongering. It is not in your best interest. So the better emotion is to be happy. So I would invite everyone watching this today to repeat this mantra. Every day in every way, I feel good. Every day in every way, I feel better and better. Every day in every way, I'm feeling so glad to be alive. Thank you for this day. And just make it your mantra, and turn off the TV, turn off the radio, and just go out and live your life.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
That was the best advice I've ever heard in my entire life, was turn off the TV. If you want to be happy, you want to be healthy, you want to be in love, you want to be successful, turn off the TV.
But now we got this other thing. We got this.
Yeah. Okay. Are we going to go there, Shelley?
I mean, I take groups to Bali, Indonesia, and I was there for a sacred ceremony, and all the kids were in their costumes celebrating Saraswati Day, and they were all going,
oh my God,
texting each other. The whole world has gone into this machine world, which is a good thing. I mean, I like the machines. And Suzie is so right. We are starving for lack of touch. We're starving for lack of contact. We need to be out and about, and we need to hug each other. And I love this. Kissing spreads germs, so it's stated. So kiss me, baby. We'll be vaccinated.
I love kissing. Kissing is not overrated. I love it. All great words of advice. So you are always, you're always doing amazing things, and you train and you speak and help people, all these different organizations all over the country and all over the world. So what do you have coming up? What's coming up for you?
Well, I'm taking, first of all, I'm teaching 2 classes, one in my home office in Rancho Palos Verdes, and it's in hypnosis. And then I'm taking people to Sedona, Arizona. Awesome. And in Sedona, we're doing a past life vision quest. And people who go will be certified as past life regressionists. They'll help people travel to before they were born. What's your life purpose? Why are you here? You'll travel into the future. What's your future look like? If you don't like it, let's rewrite it.
And Sedona's a magical place for this.
Right. And who were you before you were ever you? Who were you? And have you lived before or not? And this is not any religion or philosophical thing. This is a self-exploration of consciousness. And what's really interesting is you can remember your own birth. You can remember imprints or ideas that were given to you from birth, at the birth, afterwards, because the first hypnotist in your life after yourself, of course, is your mother.
Mhm.
What was your mother's attitude when you were born?
So, Shelley, do me a huge favor because it took me a while to understand this idea. What is an imprint?
Oh, good question. Okay. I don't know if any of you have ever seen those old-fashioned record players, where you'd put the money in, the record would drop down and it would play.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
Okay. Think of an imprint like one of those records.
Okay.
You push the button.
Jukebox.
Jukebox. You push the button 4-1. Okay. And down drops this record. And it says, I always finish everything on my plate. I always finish everything on my plate. Where did you get that from?
Mm-hmm.
Well, your mama told you that. Why did she tell you that? Because people were starving here or there or somewhere. And therefore, because someone was starving over there, you had to finish everything on your plate. Now you're a grown-up. You don't think about that notion anymore. You go to a restaurant that serves Godzilla portions, it's sitting in front of you, and your brain goes 4-1, and down drops this imprint record, and it says, I always finish everything on my plate. And boy, you do. You might even eat the plate. You are so hungry, and you are so fat, and you feel so bad, but you don't know why. That's because you have a notion that has been played and replayed so many times that it made a groove in your brain.
Yeah.
And you now go on automatic pilot and you play that imprint.
Yeah, and it could be something like just and not even meant in a harmful way, but just because something happened, you spilled the milk and mom says, you're so stupid. I can't believe you just did that. And then that gets imprinted in your brain that you're so stupid.
And then you drop something, you go, I'm so stupid. Or,
starts to play again.
Or I'm too ugly to have a boyfriend. Or, I'll never pass this test because I'm bad with, I had a little lady here today. She came to see me and she said, I'm so depressed and I have no passion. And that's what she's been saying to herself for months. Well, she's right. She is depressed and she has no passion because she's playing that record again and again and again and hypnotizing herself negatively. So when you explain that to someone, then they decide, well, I think I'll play a different record.
Yes, and
that's the beautiful part.
You can choose which record you want to play.
Yes, thank you for telling me. I see a lot of old friends on this list. I love you too. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. We're so happy that you're here and joining us with Dr. Shelley Stockwell-Nicholas. I'm Suzie Bowers from HypnoProfessional. And thank you guys for joining us. I'm really loving it. And if you have anything you want to ask Shelley, you have a comment or something you want to ask her, please go ahead. I'm getting some of the comments. You have to use that link I put in there that allows the two, Facebook and the interfaces, to work together. So you have to get permission. So if you want to do that, go right ahead. We'd love to hear questions. If you can see any questions there on your end, Shelley, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be with so many friends. This is cool.
Oh, awesome. Awesome to have you here. So let's see. I wanted to ask you something else. So I'm going to put up the information about your Sedona trip. That sounds amazing. And I'm sure a lot of people would love to spend time with you doing that. That's totally cool. But let me ask you this. I wanted to ask this. I wrote down a note so I wouldn't forget. But how does doing a kind of vision quest past life regression thing that you're the event that you're hosting, how does that benefit somebody? How does that affect their lives in a positive way?
Well, we just did one, and the people left the 4 days we spent in Sedona absolutely in love with themselves. As a matter of fact, everybody here, put one hand on your shoulder. Go ahead, Suzie. One hand on your other shoulder. Give yourself a hug.
Oh,
God, I feel so good. Okay. Now reverse the hands. Reverse it. Another hug. Yeah. And now go ahead and do this with your face. Everybody look at yourself on the screen if you can, or just do this with your face. And just think, I'm adorable. I'm adorable.
I'm adorable.
So what happens is when you fall madly in love with yourself, and then you fall madly in love with the world because you're in Sedona or a beautiful power spot like Palos Verdes or somewhere, you start falling in love with life and nature and yourself. And then you fall in love with each other. And so what happens on these trips is everyone who comes feels great about who they are. They feel great about the gifts that are hidden within them. They feel great about the mysteries and the masteries that they've acquired over life. They feel great about being on the planet at this time. And then that upliftment is contagious, but it's not lethal. It's just contagious. And what happens is the more happy you are and the more love you have for yourself and the world and life, the more you spread it around, kind of like fertilizer.
That's
And
so
then
true.
flowers grow.
Uplifting the vibration of the planet when you take good care of yourself. It's a
It's
gift. It's a gift you give everybody when you take good care of yourself.
it's a
So
beautiful thing.
I just put up Shelley's information, Dr. Shelley. So if you want to find out about her trip to Arizona, the Sedona past life regression, amazing trip. Give her a call there at 310-541-4844. Or if you are interested in hypnosis certification, she is the best. And she does that down in her home there at Palace.
Rancho Palos Verdes.
You never get that out right. Rancho Palos Verdes, thank you. That's awesome. So also, so one of the reasons that we're doing this expert interview series, and thank you so much for kicking this off with me. We've done this before. We always have such a great time. But one of the reasons that I started this was because we're both presenting at Hypno Thoughts Live. It's the 10th year, X. I was there the very first year when they kicked that off. And have you been there every year now?
No.
No? How many years have you done it?
Actually, yes, I think I was. I was there every year. They almost canceled it one year, but yes, I was there every year.
Yeah.
Hypno Thoughts is a great organization, and they have this conference. It's not an organization; it's a conference, really.
Really,
And it's in Las Vegas. It's hot, but it's
it's at the end of July, and I think the first week of August, right around there. I don't have the date right on me, but yeah. So one of the things is I'm going to be bringing in other hypnotists and coaches and other people that are going to be presenting there and doing classes and stuff. So if you're interested in this and you want to be better in your life, then keep on joining us, and hopefully we'll get Dr. Shelley. Maybe you'll come back and co-host with me a couple times.
I will. And also, if anybody is going to Hypno Thoughts, I'm teaching a post-conference class and certifying people also. So it's going to be a fun time in Las Vegas. And like I said, it's hot, but it's cool.
We have so much fun. It's so fun. I mean, seriously, there's a pajama party and bowling, all sorts of stuff. But if you're interested in that at all and you want more information, go ahead and drop that in the comments below in the chat. Just put HTL and I'll get that information for you. And let's see. I wanted to ask you one more thing. We just always have so much fun. I could just go on and on and on and talk to you. Is there anything else you want to add? Is there something I'm missing that we need to talk about?
No, I just want to invite anyone here to really pay attention to your self-talk. And if you have the opportunity, be trained as a hypnotist. It's a great career. It's a standalone, self-regulated profession. You do not have to be a college graduate. You do not have to go through 10 years of education or whatever. It's a very cool tool. It's used by people all over the world for all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it in your other careers. It's just a great adjunct. Become a hypnotist if you can. And if you can't, go visit a hypnotist and make them your best friend, because hypnotists are very, very tuned in to loving you.
Absolutely. That's so true. Overall, as a group, we're pretty cool people, very loving and caring and sensitive and all of that. But yeah, that's a good point, Shelley. I mean, there's many different careers where hypnosis is very valuable to you. First of all, not only for yourself to get some understanding about your consciousness and what's happening so that you can be in charge of how you feel, but also like if you're in real estate, it's important. If you're in the medical field, it's important. I mean, really, it can be applied to anything you're doing in any field, even inter-office relationships. And so any area of your life can be better by understanding and learning how to use hypnosis in a positive way.
Well, you are teaching people to promote themselves, and promoting yourself is hypnosis.
It is.
It's convincing people that you're of service to them, and you are. So, if you're entering into any career, use hypnosis or learn hypnosis, incorporate it. Call Suzie, call me. and
Oh,
call on yourself.
and you know what? I also wanted to bring up, you have your own hypnosis show with Kathy Kennedy. When is that? If someone wanted to get a bigger dose of Shelley and Kathy.
Well, we actually have for this wonderful class that I showed you, this spiritual counselors thing, we have a thumb drive that goes into your, at home, you can do 50 hours of training and be certified as a spiritual counselor in the
Cool.
privacy of your own home with a thumb drive. So if anybody's interested in that, it's a wonderful program that Kathy and I put together, and it's just awesome. It's just an awesome class. And I'll be offering that class, either you can get it on a thumb drive, or I'll be offering a weekend in my house in Rancho Palos Verdes and the thumb drive as another option for you.
Awesome. That sounds really, really cool. I would like to do that. So if you would want more information about that, you got Shelley's phone number here, or you can drop me a private message and I'll send you the details, or just put something down below. Just let us know. Yeah, I want to know more, whatever. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. So, all right, Shelley, thank you so much. Our time's we're a little bit over our time, but that's okay because you are so awesome and we love it. We love you.
Love you, Suzie.
Love to John too. Have a
Okay.
kisses. So
Bye, everybody.
thank you so much, Dr. Shelley. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye for now.
All righty. So that was so fun. I want to thank Dr. Shelley. She's so amazing. And we're going to just talk a little bit here about everything hypnosis. I'm so happy you're here. I'm Suzie Bowers from HypnoProfessional, and HypnoProfessional is about helping you to create a successful hypnotherapy, coaching, or business and as an alternative practitioner. We have the systems for you. We have the coaching and the mindset. I've been doing this 25, almost 26 years, and lessons I've learned I share with you so you don't have to do all that busy stuff. But we want you to be successful. I love you. Next week, we'll be back. We are booked through April right now already with hypnotists, authors, coaches, every Wednesday at 11:11 Pacific time, right here on the HypnoProfessional Facebook page. It's also streaming live on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, great. And it's also supposed to be streaming into the Facebook group, the HypnoProfessional Facebook group. Anyway, if you have any questions whatsoever, I'm here to help you. I'd love to talk to you, just get to know you, find out where you are in your business, and find out how I can help you. Perhaps we can work together, or I can give you a review, kind of look at over your what your systems you have in place, and if I can be of help at all, I'm so happy to do that for you. All right, thank you so much. I'm Suzie Bowers again. Have a wonderful day. Go out there and create the life you desire and deserve, because you are worth it. Love you. Bye.